Welcome, everybody, to Dead Talk Live. And today we have special guest Sallie Harmsen, who has just appeared in the movie Moloch that premiered in July and exclusively streaming on Shudder. Sallie, thank you so much for being here. Congratulations on the film. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much. And thank you for having me.
It is our pleasure to talk to you. I really enjoyed the film, like I told you before we got started. So let's get right into it. Moloch is a term that's referenced in the Old Testament of the Bible.
Hmm.
And it's condemned because it involves child sacrifice. So when you got the role of Beatrix, did you do any kind of reading on it whatsoever?
Yes, I did. I did do some research, but like the story that we use in the film, or that the film is about, it's kind of a compilation of different folklore. Like it's yeah, indeed it comes from a figure from the Bible, but also there's like some Dutch tales involved, and it's kind of a mixture. And I think Nico kind of made his own, yeah, idea of it.
Exactly, exactly. Now, you have done a wide variety of roles in you've played a very big spectrum of roles in your career. What is it like being the lead in a horror movie and carrying that burden where you are there like 95% of the time on camera?
I loved it. I really, really love horror, and especially this film is like it's also a psychological thriller, so it has a lot of depth to it. And for me, that's very amazing as an actor to play like a character that really goes through so much, and also kind of evolves during the story. So for me, that was amazing, and I really liked that Amo, the DOP, like he made really strong choices with lighting and
Mm-hmm.
like the style. And I'm a real film nerd, and I really like it when there's like big decisions being made creatively, and everybody did that. So yeah, I was super
Exactly. And
excited.
and one of the things that really stood out to me is how the movie, the beginning sequence, the scenes, ties in very well to the end and that sequence of events. You know what I'm talking about in the closet, the little girl in the closet. In the beginning, you're that little girl. Your character is that little girl in the closet. In the
Yeah.
end, it's your daughter that's in the closet. And I love how it went full circle. What were your feelings on how that was done?
Yes, well, that's one of the things that for me really holds the terror of this film, because for me it really is about this inevitable things that you give the next generation as you become a parent,
Mm-hmm.
basically, and kind of pass it on whether you want it or not. And in this film, that kind of has the I don't want to spoil too much,
I know.
but
You got to
in this
tiptoe around it.
yeah, in this film it has a different form, but it is about that. It is about this doom that's it's just it's gonna happen one way or another, and you're gonna try to run from it, but it will just slowly happen to you. And yeah, for me that's terrifying.
Now,
And
do you
yeah,
think
that's the full circle that they make.
do you think that Beatrix, after suffering that childhood trauma and she moves to New York, she sort of blocks it, represses it in her memory until she comes back to her hometown?
I guess so. I guess she's trying to become a person of her own. She's trying to like start another life and not continue this line. Um, but one way or another, she is being called back basically, and she has to come home, and things happen, and yeah, then she has to take care of her parents, and she's tied to the place and tied to
Exact.
the house, to the family.
Now, when we see Beatrix as an adult back at her hometown, how would you describe the character? She suffered tragedy. She lost her husband, and she ends up going back from New York to the Netherlands. What kind of state of mind do you think your character is in at that point?
I think she is very much a survivor. So she is emotional, but not that much. Like she just continues. She just gets on with it. Basically, she's quite tough, and she's someone who doesn't really please anyone. So when somebody's trying to make a joke or and she doesn't think it's funny, she won't laugh, which I think is very funny as a character. Very dry. But yeah, I think that would describe her the best. That she's really is a survivor, and she just gets on with it. She's not pitying herself, but she just yeah goes on with life.
One of the big underthemes of this film is about a family curse that has been following your family, and that's the presumption. As we go through the film, and you shot the film, read the script, and whatnot. Do you think it really is a family curse, or is it a curse on the town itself?
Oh, that's a good question. I think both. I think yeah. I think both, but I think this is kind of a symbol for all the families also in the town. I think every family in the town you could tell a similar story about, but we just zoom in on this family.
Yeah.
So I think that's what the situation is. But also the members of the town, they're also involved. The
Yeah.
community is also involved. But yeah, I think the subject of the movie is more about the family curse that just yeah continues and continues whether you want it or not.
And the Moloch, on how it was portrayed to us, with an, like you mentioned in the beginning, taken from little bits of parts of here and folklore there and put together into this entity that was really unique. It's sort of, in my opinion, it's not really your family that was cursed, but it's whatever family the Moloch is attached to at the moment that is cursed. and it
Yeah,
and it goes from that family to the next family, and so on. So in the movie, there's an archaeological dig going on
yeah,
in the town, and women's bodies are being discovered in their graves with their necks slit vertically.
yeah.
Now, do you feel like the town has been supporting the ritual, the Moloch, whatever you want to call it, for as long as it's been there?
Yeah, yeah. I think the people of the town is kind of a sect also. They support it. They it's kind of a god to them. So for them it's important that it keeps being fed, maybe also from moving to another family.
Yeah.
Because all the women that are being found are from the same family. So it's just one generation apart every time. But probably if they would not support it, it would move to another family. I think you're right at that. That's very, very interesting. I haven't thought about that.
Yeah, and I'll,
New door.
going back to the mashup of making the Moloch that we see in this movie, it's great. It's taken from like a term and sort of a mention in the Old Testament of the Bible, and then mixed in with sort of paganism as well to bring
Yeah.
us this demon, whatever you want to call it. We don't really know what it is. Now, there's a big story within a story about families and betrayal in Moloch. Um, do you think Beatrix had by the time we get to the third act, do you think your character is catching on as far as your family and their involvement in what's going on in that town?
What do you mean exactly?
Like, we've I'm trying not to give away spoilers as well. Your family, and the families and betrayal that we see within your family. As the
Yeah.
movie progresses, do you think your character has realized your family's involvement with the town's cover up of this?
Yes, I think she is suspecting something. Yeah, yeah, she is suspecting things because she finds out that her mother is not saying certain things that she should be able to know,
Yeah.
and she's not being taken seriously with everything that she's she tries to investigate, whether it be the sickness of her mom or the bodies that are being found. The only person who actually takes her, he also in the first place doesn't take her seriously, is the archaeologist.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think she's definitely, her panic rises once she has the idea that her family also is covering up certain things. I think
Exactly.
she can only trust her father.
And that's another great thing about this film is that we're sort of thrown for a loop where we don't know who to trust and who not to trust. Who's the good guy? Who's the bad guy? And
Yeah.
it's all revealed in the ending. And just jumping forward to that ending scene where you're in that bedroom and surrounded. What was it like filming that scene?
Very technical. Yeah, because we had like this amazing special effects guy who was kind of controlling the thing,
Well,
and we
that's
had
my.
like,
Well, that's a question I have. Now we see the. We could say it. We see the Moloch at the end of the film. What, as an actress doing this film, what point of reference did they give you to work with when you're like, oh my God, there it is? How did that work out?
just, well, imagine just seeing something like that, not knowing what is going on. You'll just be in complete terror.
Exactly.
Yourself tied on a bed and something is entering you. You're like, whoa! It's complete horror, I guess. Yeah, I guess it's quite simple that way. Like, it's just terrifying.
You're like, what the hell is going on? And but it all gets explained in that ending scene. Uh,
But it's also very emotional because the mom, she is present as well, and she, yeah, takes her life. So it's also very emotional. So it's very, very double. It's not only fear, but it's also disbelief and grief. So many things, actually.
exactly. Uh, just before the movie goes into credits, we see all the women outside the house looking in. Do you think that the Moloch is keeping them there as sort of like prisoners, or are they there out of their own will?
So I can tell you, but I don't know. I don't want to spoil too much. I don't know how much I
Well,
can
I
say.
mean, you could. Okay, these women are spirits. Okay, we could say that much. And do you think that the spirits of these women are being held there prisoner by the Moloch tied to the land? Or do they choose to stay for the life that was taken away from them prematurely?
I think both. I think the curse is keeping them there, and they also are there in order to try to stop this from happening.
Yeah,
So they are also taking part in trying to stop the Moloch. So when it's moving on, they will try to stop it by attacking the person that the Moloch is inhabiting. So it's also their own choice, but they're also lost souls. They have nowhere to go.
that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
And this part is left up to viewer interpretation, and that is the motives of this demon, the Moloch. Uh, we know that it wants children. It wants to be a part of children's lives. It wants to continue living through people. And it's really left up to the viewer's interpretation of what the motives are of this thing. What do you think its motives are? What does it want? Does it just want to be on Earth? Does it want to damage and devour and wreak havoc and destruction on families? What's your take on that?
Yeah, it's very interesting. But I would lean more towards an idea of that it's not so much an entity of itself, but also a creation of the people and of the trauma that people go through. So it's also a symbol for something that's haunting you if you don't look at it.
Yeah, emotions, negative energy, and
Yeah.
all that stuff. And it
That's
manifests. Yeah.
how, that's the way I see it. But I think there are many different ways of viewing at it. You can also see it like as a separate entity within a story. But for me, it has a more philosophical meaning, I guess.
No, it's very interesting to hear your take on it. Now, when you approach a character, in this case, let's go with Beatrix. Do you try to find some elements in that character that you can relate to help you get into that character?
Yeah, of course. I will first of all, I always start with the material that I have, so with the script, and then I just try to study like the psychology of this person. Why is it doing certain thing? Why is it saying certain things, and why does one action or one thought leads to another action and leads to another situation? And once you really understand that, you can kind of tap into their vibration and kind of become the character. So for me, that is, it starts up very rational, and then I try to connect with it and try to fully grab it, understand the motives, and then yeah, then you can tap in.
I
And then
love,
sometimes like a physical thing that you want to add, the way she walks, or a certain tone of voice or something, but not always. Sometimes that's just
yeah.
extra.
I love hearing how different actors approach how to get into character and and do their craft. I think it's amazing. Now you have worked on a lot of European, U.S. productions. For right now, where do you see the most opportunity for yourself? Is it in Europe? Is it in the United States? You've worked in both places. Where do you see the lay of the land right now?
Interesting. For me, the most important thing is that I just want to make cool stuff.
Yeah.
Like whether it's here or in the US or in France, I don't know, whatever. I will go there and take part in the project. And I always want to discover new characters and make new things that I haven't done before. So I really like to step out of my comfort zone, and I love to transform,
Mm-hmm.
and with that understand different people and raise awareness of more empathy,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah. Totally.
So I
Uh,
don't know. I'll see
where
where
the
it
road
leads.
goes.
Yeah, yeah.
Exactly. Now, we're almost out of time, but I do want to ask you final question. You're starring in a bunch of upcoming projects, film and television. Is there any one particular project that you want to talk about and let people know that you're really excited about?
Yes, there is one film. It's called Sea of Time,
Mm-hmm.
and it's about a young couple that travels the world in the late uh, beginning 70s. Travels the world on a sailboat. It's actually from a true story. And they have a little kid, and that little kid disappears.
Mm.
And this is actually a love story about how those two parents cope, how those two parents grieve, and how they try to stay together. Like it's really a love story, very like a big drama about how they try to save their relationship, their marriage, while dealing with this immeasurable grief in totally different ways.
That sounds great.
So yeah, it's a very beautiful film. It will be opening the Dutch Film Festival next week, so I'm pretty excited about that.
Speaking of distributors, did you know right away that Moloch was going to was going to be a Shutter exclusive, or was that just not known until later on?
No, that was a surprise, but
Yeah,
I'm very happy with that.
exactly. I mean, Shutter is like, part of AMC, one of the biggest studios out there. So, anyway, Sally, congratulations on the
Thank
film.
you so
Guys, if you have not watched it yet, it's available right now on Shutter AMC Plus. It's called Moloch. It stars Sallie Harmsen here. You will not regret watching this film. It will keep you on the edge of your seat. I want to thank our guest. I want to thank all our viewers, those who are tuning in live, and those of you who will tune in later on. Sally, again, big thank you. On behalf of Sally and myself, guys, stay safe and stay walking. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.